Hello, everyone!
We kick things off in some color panels in the middle of a dense forest. There are wild beasts lurking around, and then we meet our hero, Shino Miya Hokage, who will be referred to as Shino moving forward. Bro is a proper Giga Chad, as we can see that he already has a harem of babes who are ready to serve him. Of course, we can't jump forward in time so quickly, so it's time for a flashback in order to understand how Shino got here. We see him in class and learn that he is a third year in college, which means his female classmates are all old enough to be safe from Drake. He is currently preparing for his exams, and then he looks forward to participate in some survival games during his break. He has done loads of preparations for these games in the form of practice tours and research, because he wants to make sure he has understood the assignment. However, he still needs to get more experience if he is to achieve his dreams. We can see that our hero gets mocked in class as the other boys tease him about some shadow clone he does. He does not mind these antics because even though he is not too popular in class, he is disciplined enough to let it pass. Anyway, he goes to sleep in class and hopes for the summer break to begin soon. It looks like the angels have heard his wish, because the next thing you know, Shino wakes up in some island with nothing but his school bag. He has no idea where he is right now, and it feels like a dream, but he does think that this is real life. He checks his phone, but there is no phone line or Wi-Fi, so he can't even contact anyone. Shino does have a flare, but that is only to be used in extreme cases where he would require someone to rescue him. Bro uses his big brain energy and checks his handkerchief. It's still wet from him using it not too long ago for wiping his hands, so it's not like he was passed out for a long time. Basically, our hero may have fallen asleep in school, but he has been summoned to another world. He does not know how this has happened, but he is actually very excited because this is his chance to enjoy a survival life, regardless of whether it's a dream or reality. He has to control his emotions, though, because he needs to live through whatever is in this forest. Since the sun is still up, Shino decides to scout the area to get familiar with his surroundings. There are monkeys and chipmunks in the area, along with footprints that suggest wild boars. This is good news because Shino can hunt down the animals for food. He then comes across a river and assumes that the water is safe to drink. However, he can't take the risk, so he needs to use a filter. There are many techniques to do this, but Shino has to be quick, so he uses his water bottle, which can filter even muddy water. He has 3 such bottles with him because he is always prepared, and the water is tasty, so Bro does not have to worry about going thirsty. Being in nature is enhancing the experience for Shino, but he also needs to find a cave which he can make as his base. The food supply is also important, and Shino's first option is edible plants. He would prefer to have the sea nearby, but before our hero can think any further, he hears some other humans talking nearby. He goes to check what's going on, and then we see a curvy babe checking her smartphone. She is not getting any network, but Shino can see everything in HD. Naturally, he panics, and the girl also gets spooked. There are 3 other girls with her, and they think our hero is being a creep. At first, the girls think that they have come across a primitive man, but then they realize that it's just Shino. Our hero identifies this group as the fancy girls from his class, who are high in social status. They used to throw erasers at him, so they don't really like him a lot. The girls are led by Yuki Mana, who will always be surrounded by the squad. Then there is Futagawa Eri, who is neat, clean, and also popular with the otaku boys. She has even declared herself to be a sugar baby, but all the sugar seems to be in her pillows. Next up is Nimi Karen, who has been in the same class as Shino for 3 years. However, Bro does not know anything about her, and she even referred to him as a ninja just now. Finally, there's Nikotama Arisa, who used to work at a karaoke place before the senpai over there tried to get shady with her. She is also looking for a sugar daddy, but there isn't much scope for that in a forest. Our hero knows all of these things because he would silently observe and listen to their chatter during breaks, because that is a key skill to possess if you want to be a survival master. Now, the girls try to understand how Shino got transported here, and they are also wary of all the items he has with him. He simply says that he is an otaku for survival life, so it is normal for him to have such tools. Now, Yuki also refers to Shino as a ninja, and is optimistic that the other boys will also be here. However, there is no trace of these boys, so Nimi suggests working with Shino for now. The girls agree with this decision because Shino really is their best chance of survival. Now, Yuki tells Shino that he will be their partner, but this will only attract intrusive thoughts. With more people, Shino is confident that he will get more efficiency, but he also states that he will be going his own way, so the girls are free to follow him. The girls seem to be fine with this, but then Nico suggests that ninjas like Shino are supposed to be creeps like Diddy. Bro is shocked by these accusations, but Nico does make sense, because men of culture appreciate curvy babes. She wonders if Shino's elephant does not rise to the occasion, but he tells her not to worry about such things. He admits that he does have intrusive thoughts and desires, and his python will naturally extend if the situation arises. However, this is not the time or place for such things to be done, so the focus should be survival. He tells the girls that they should search for the sea, but before that, he will take them to the cave for shelter. Nico asks if Shino will write the SOS signal on the sand, so he tells her she is smarter than she lets on. While our hero is mainly interested in seaweed and the ocean, he also never thought that he would ever get to talk to these babes before. Nico asks if they are still somewhere in Japan, after which Eri assumes that it could be Hokkaido, as it's not that hot despite being summer. Nimi is not sure of that because if this were the case, then they should have been able to use their phones. Yuki feels that it's because they're amongst all the vegetation, but that is no reason for no signal, so she is called a fool. Yuki is getting teased, so she asks the girls to stop, but then Shino stops because he senses something. The girls look with intent as some creature seems to come out of the cave. It's actually a tiger, and it looks quite scary. The animal chills outside the cave, but the girls don't know why there is a tiger on this island. After all, such creatures are not found in Japan, and this prompts Shino to conclude that they are not in Japan at all. The phone signals should have been the main hint, but our hero has also seen boars and chipmunks here, so it's definitely not their native town. Yuki is confused now, but then Nimi suggests that they could be on Blackiston's line, as it does support chipmunks and boars. Even if that is the case, Shino says that the ecosystem of this place is quite weird. Yuki is losing her patience and she wants to know where they all are, so Shino comes up with a theory that is out of pocket. He believes that they are in a whole other world, and this renders all the babes speechless. Yuki scolds Shino, asking him if he is out of his mind, because such concepts are unheard of. Of course, she is not a regular viewer of comic guzzlers, so what does she know? Her loud voice alerts the tiger, so everyone tells Yuki to keep her mouth shut if she wants to live. Shino finds it even stranger that they got transported to this place straight from school, but since he has no evidence to back that they are in another world, he suggests leaving this particular area. The group takes off while the tiger has a nap, and then we see Eri drinking some water. The girls love the water's taste and are glad that Shino is so prepared. Nico is feeling awkward, because sharing a bottle with Shino would be like an indirect kiss. Bro puts her at ease by saying he has given her an unused bottle, and he doesn't touch the bottles with his lips anyway while drinking. Nico drinks the water happily now, and then she offers some to Yuki. However, she is feeling a bit low, because she is not sure if they will be able to come back home. Shino tries to keep her hopes up by saying that they could still be on Earth, as his theory has not been proven yet. The girls ask Shino if he can know where they are for sure, but he says they will need to get out of the forest and find a settlement to gain more clarity. Yuki tells our hero to find a way home, but even he does not know this place properly, so he can't just take a random decision like that. That's not the end of the road though, as Shino is a genius with a plan. He knows that they can still use their phone cameras, so he just needs to get on top of a tree and take some shots to understand the area. Nico laughs at this hilarious idea, because she can't climb trees like a monkey. Shino says that he can, which surprises her completely. The others are also amazed by this, and are certain now that he is a ninja. Anyway, Shino says that he will need to take some high-spec shots once he's on top of the tree, so Nimi offers her selfie stick to him. He does not know how to use it, so she gives him a quick tutorial like a curvy sensei. Now, our hero climbs the tree really fast, which makes all the girls look at him in awe. Everyone cheers him on, but they also call him a monkey, which isn't a nice thing to say. Bro is just relieved that the girls are smiling now, so he puts up the phone to take some shots. Shino is glad that modern tech is helping him out here, but there seems to be something else in the trees, as the girls rightly point out. Suddenly, a shady character appears and takes away Shino's selfie stick. It's actually a monkey, so this makes for a funny scene. Shino's face is full of embarrassment, because all the aura he was farming till now is gone. The girls mock him for losing to a monkey, but this is not the time to be doing such things. Suddenly, the monkey goes to Yuki, but that's only because it has intrusive thoughts of its own. As odd as it may be, the selfie stick comes back to Nimi, and then Yuki tells Shino that she has a special skill which allows her to be friends with animals. With pillows like those, any animal will want to be friends with Yuki, but then the monkey turns into Diddy, so Shino has to save her. However, in the process of trying to save Yuki, Bro ends up doing something unspeakable. Bro can't understand why his hands are feeling such soft texture, and it's almost as if he is being sucked into heaven. However, he soon realizes that he is now doing to Yuki what the monkey was doing mere seconds ago. Naturally, he gets slapped for it, and he does not mind the punishment. Yuki still seems to favor the monkey, so Shino just decides to take a look at the images. From what he can see, there are no settlements or any signs of deforestation anywhere, so it looks like the group is stuck here. There is some good news though, as Shino has spotted the sea in the images. The girls gather around him and ask all kinds of questions regarding the sea. But then Nico notices something that looks like a nearby island. It's not very clear, so they may need to use a photo editing app to get the job done. Nimi gets to work, and after a bit of editing, the image does look like that of an island. Shino is impressed by Nimi's skills, and even Yuki is now a bit more confident in being able to go back home. Our hero is also hopeful of finding people on that island as long as they are not in another world. Nico is overjoyed because they now have a higher chance of being rescued, and then Shino uses the compass in his phone, which does not need any network. The team now makes its way to the sea, and they leave some crosses on the trees as landmarks. After all, when the phone shuts down, this will be all they can use. Yuki mentions that our hero brought all kinds of things with him, but not a compass, which makes him admit that he did get carried away with the compass on his phone. The girls laugh at him once more, but they should actually be grateful to him for being such a Chad. The journey continues, and suddenly, Eri goes up to Shino to ask him what's on his mind. He says that he wants to reclaim the cave, but that is not going to be easy when there is a tiger outside. Our hero does not have any knife skills, and he never expected to fight a tiger, so he is really at a disadvantage. He still states that he needs to find a way to repel predators, otherwise they will never be safe on the island. Eri panics a bit, but Shino seems to have a plan which may or may not work. Eri is still impressed, so she asks Shino to tell her his plan when he's ready. It's almost as if she is flirting with him, but that has to wait for a bit because now the team has come to the sea. It's a beautiful sight, and Shino is also glad that they made it here. While the girls play in the water, our hero notices shellfish, which means there has to be seaweed around as well. This may be fun for now, but Shino tells the girls they need to head back now because the sun is about to set. They are confused because they don't know where they're going to go. However, Shino says that they're going back to the cave, as he is going to fight the tiger. 2. As expected, the girls can't believe what our hero wants to do, and they worry if they too need to fight the beast. Shino says that the only way they are going to defeat a tiger is if they work together. Of course, brute force is not going to work against such an opponent, so Shino has devised another way to deal with it. He will explain his plan as they move, and then the shady monkey comes back to Yuki. She has already named it Rita, but its actions suggest that it is an ape of culture. There are other monkeys too, and oddly enough, Yuki seems to understand their language. She says that the monkeys are saying the tiger is still in front of the cave and there is no other wildlife around. Shino says that this is an amazing ability because it could be that Yuki is a tamer. All sorts of intrusive thoughts enter his head, so it's best for him to chill. Now, our hero tells the girls to move as slowly and quietly as they can, and then they find the tiger, which is still asleep. This does work in their favor, but the plan has to be executed properly, otherwise they will all get eaten like a full meal. Shino says they have no choice, because they won't be able to sleep in peace if they don't repel the tiger. Now, our hero gets his babes ready for the plan, and they seem to be eager to go. However, just as they make their move on the tiger, it wakes up and becomes alert. This is bad news for the squad, but Shino is ready for a fight. He tells his babes not to falter, otherwise the tiger will jump at them. But the beast has a fearful presence which is solidified by its roar. The girls are clearly scared, but Shino is ready to make his move. He lights up his flares and stuns the tiger with blinding lights. He then tells the girls to scream at their loudest voices, which they do without any hesitation. The tiger is still not giving in, so the squad turns up the volume and eventually they do well enough to scare it away. The tiger escapes, and the girls can't believe that the mission actually succeeded. Everyone celebrates, as they have now obtained the cave as their shelter point. The girls swarm around our hero, giving him Riz powers, but he tells them that this was a team effort. Now that they have scared the tiger, it will not bother them again, thus showing how humans can always prevail by using their big brain energy. Now, Shino decides to check out the cave, but then Nico's stomach starts growling. She is really hungry, and by the time Shino comes back, he can see that she is creating a fuss. He knows they need to eat, but they can't go fishing right now, as the sun is setting. He suggests mushrooms, which may not be a very filling option, but it's definitely better than nothing. Nimi says that there could be poisonous mushrooms too, but Shino knows which types are edible, so he will pick them out. Nimi then says that the girls can collect the twigs for lighting the fire, but Shino says he will need someone to come with him as he needs 5 portions. Fura offers to come along, and Shino has no issues with that. Nico is very excited to look for mushrooms as well, but she is told to be careful because even touching a poisonous mushroom could mean bad news. Now we see Shino and Eri searching for the edible mushrooms, and our hero finds one. They consider harvesting the whole lot, but then Shino realizes something very important. He is alone with a girl, which is not amongst his survival skills. The two of them consider the different ways to light up the twigs, but since they don't have much time right now, Shino offers to use his lighter tonight. After some time, they manage to gather enough mushrooms and decide to head back to the cave before the smoke from the flare goes out. Suddenly, Eri slips and falls into Shino, which leads to a very goofy position. Shino is embarrassed, so he gets up immediately, although Eri accidentally knocks him in the eggs. He needs to rest for a bit, so he looks away from Eri and tells her they should just relax for some time. However, Eri seems to have other plans on her mind. She asks our hero why he is looking away from her, so he says that his python awakened earlier when he was lost in her pillows. Eri then acts very alluring and tells Shino that he does not need to hide these things from her, as men of culture are united by intrusive thoughts. She then teases Shino by saying he may have tried to act cool earlier, but he must be holding in a lot of tension. Bro tells Eri not to tempt him any further, but he accidentally feels heaven once again. Bro is losing the plot, so he tells himself to calm down because he is a man of survival. Eri tells him not to let loose, but he says he didn't really do that on purpose. The curvy babe now strikes a pose and tells our hero that it would be better if he let loose, as he will need the post-nut clarity. She is able to make Bro give in to the dark side, because such sweet softness cannot be resisted. Eri is really going for it, and Shino stops fighting because there's only so much you can do in such a situation. Eri is actually a very practical girl because she knows the babes won't be able to survive without Shino, so if his elephant goes wild, then she will have to accept it. Our hero tells her that she does not need to do this, but she would rather not take any chances. She does not want Shino to lose control, so for now, she will use her tongue twister 9000 on him. She tells him not to hold back and to consider this as an act of gratitude. You can imagine what follows, as Eri gets a lot of elephant water to swallow. Now that they are done, Eri says they should head back before it gets too dark. Shino needs to know something, so he asks her if she does these things with her sugar daddies as well. Eri says that this is actually her first time doing anything with an elephant, as the whole sugar daddy vibe is just a show. She says that this was a special gift from her. But Shino says it felt as though she is a master of the tongue twister. He thanks her for the service because he could even take another one. However, Eri says one is enough for now, leading our hero to tell her he wasn't actually asking for it. Now, Eri tells Shino that this should be kept as a secret between them, to which he agrees. Bro is so happy that he is now ready to even give his life to protect the girls. But this could imply that he is getting dominated by Eri. Anyway, the both of them reach the cave and they notice that there are a lot more people now. It turns out that the boys of the class are also here, which is a bit of a party pooper scene. Shino is not pleased. But then Nico and Yuki notice that he is back with Eri. The leader of the bully boys is here, and he is surprised to see that Shino has managed to lead the girls to this point. He tells Shino that he thought the rescue party was here, and then he even mocks our hero for carrying flares. He then tells Shino that he doesn't mind including him into the group, but he shouldn't really be in a position to offer something that our hero has done. 3. The bully boy tells Shino that he would prefer more people if he wants to actually survive here, and it would be sad if our hero were left all alone. The girls are glad that there are other people they know on the island too, and Shino agrees with them. The problem, though, is that he doesn't know what these other boys have planned on the island. He asks the bully boy about his intentions, but he is not too thrilled to hear that. His name is revealed to be Byakuya, and he is about to answer back. But then his older brother tells him to chill. There is no point in fighting right now, so the elder brother apologizes for Baya's actions. His name is Sumireji Raito, and he has a word with Shino about survival on this island. We learn that Raito and Baya are the top students in academics as well as sports in school. On top of that, they come from a very wealthy family, so it's like having a cheat code. Raito is smart and charismatic, which makes him a popular choice for the girls. Baya is rude and wild, but even then, his popularity is at par with his brothers. Raito explains that their base is at the hill, and if they make a fire there, then they will be able to signal for help. Our hero is not sure if this is enough to bring a rescue chopper. But then Raito says that he has a special phone which does not need any network to send a signal to his parents. This would be a great help, but that only applies if this group is still on Earth and not somewhere else. Raito says that once he and Baya are rescued, they will come back with help for the others. However, none of this is going to work out if they are in another world. Now, a nerd boy shows up, and Raito orders him to keep his phone back in his bag. The nerd boy's name is Tanaka, who is an otaku boy, which makes him an easy target for bullying. Baya talks down to him again, which means bro is living a sad life. Raito now tells Shino that he might be good at surviving, but even he will not be able to make it through the forest on his own. This is why he should join Raito, but our hero strikes a pose and says that he will stay here. Both Raito and Baya can't believe what they are hearing, and they call Shino a fool for his decision. Raito asks if our hero really wants to do as he pleases in this cave, and when he confirms it, he simply turns his back and tells him to live his life as he sees fit. Baya now tells Yuki to come along, but the girls say that they would much rather stay with their aura farmer Shino. Our hero is just as shocked as Baya, who can't believe this. Yuki does not want to abandon Shino after everything he has done for her, and even the others join in to say the same thing. Raito asks them if they are in their right minds, but Yuki is smart to do this because now she knows the evil boys won't abandon them. If it was just Shino, then they wouldn't have cared, but now that curvy babes are involved, they won't disregard the group. Raito has a reputation to uphold of his family, so he tells the girls they are very kind to become insurance for Shino's life. He does tell them they can drop by if they change their minds, and then he walks off. Baya asks Raito if he is really fine with Shino stealing such amazing babes from them. But then the older brother also reveals his true colors. He says that Shino has not stolen anything from them, but it's just that the girls are on his side for now. Also, they seem to already have some girls at their camp, so Raito is not too worried about losing out temporarily. Baya agrees with his brother and says that he needs to release a shot, so they should hurry back to their camp. The girls hear this and are upset because these boys are being real creeps. Of course, they have no idea what Shino and Eri had been doing while looking for mushrooms either, so the couple will keep it at that for now. Nico brings up the time she was attacked by a Diddy senpai at her karaoke house, but Eri changes the topic by asking if the girls want to feast on some mushrooms. Nico finds it a bit shady that mushrooms are being brought up now, because they do resemble something. Nimi tells Nico to stop with her jokes, otherwise she is going to go to town on her pillows. Now, Yuki tells our hero that the girls have chosen to be with him, not Raito, so it's definitely a big flex for him. They don't want to regret their choice, but Bro is the main character, so there is no other right choice. On that note, Shino says it's time to grill some mushrooms, and the girls join in on the fun. They have a decent meal, but the taste is not so good, which makes Nico complain a lot. Shino says that he will cast a spell now to make the mushrooms taste better. And then he does something to everyone's food. As it turns out, the mushrooms do taste a lot better now, and everyone loves their meal now. Nico says that our hero can really use magic, but then Nimi recognizes the scent, so she says that Bro has used curry powder. Shino admits that he had this trick up his sleeve the whole time, but the taste disappears quickly, so Nico creates a fuss again. Shino says there's no need to worry because he has now found the ultimate cooking ingredient, salt. Since they know where the sea is now, they can get an unlimited amount of salt. Yuki and Nico are amazed that Shino can extract salt from the sea, but he says it's easy peasy lemon squeezy. Of course, this should have been obvious, so Yuki and Nico are teased for being slow. Now, Shino arranges some books because he has to use them as pillows for sleeping. Nimi wonders if they can use bedding as well, so Shino says they can try to spread out leaves on the floor to make a mashiro. Anyway, it's time to go to sleep, but the girls need to clean themselves up. Bro doesn't want to unleash the beast within, so he tells them to go deeper into the cave where he won't be able to see or hear them. Yuki and Nico get spooked because they think that Shino might sniff certain items, and they call him a creep yet again. However, Bro says that they don't have a lot of resources, so they should reuse whatever they can. It may sound unhygienic, but that's all they can do for now. The girls go to change, and then Shino gets some much-needed sleep. It was a tough day, but the team has managed to pull through, so our hero has hope. We quickly move on to the next day, as the sun rises on Shino's face. However, when he wakes up, he notices that Nico is right on top of him. She is cuddling next to Shino, and when he asks her what she is doing, she talks in her sleep. Our hero tries to wake up Nico, but everyone else is also asleep, so nobody can help him. Shino has to act fast because if anyone sees them like this, then the Diddy accusations will never stop. He tries to break free, but this only causes his face to sink into heaven once again. Nico is still in her sleep, and she thinks she has caught a deer, so she holds our hero's head even closer. Shino is losing control, but he has to win this fight, so he manages to break free once more. However, Nikki really seems to be having some kind of odd dream, so she subtracts 1 from 70 and gets into position. Shino can't breathe, but a true man of culture would consider this an honorable death. The sensation from our hero's mouth does something to Nico's kitty, and causes her to wake up. She panics, and it's a funny scene all around for everyone except Shino. The other girls wake up, so Nico rushes to Yuki and accuses Shino of being on the Epstein list. The girls look at our hero with suspicion, but he tells them this was all a big misunderstanding. He explains that Nico was sleeping away from him on a pile of scattered books, whereas he has not even moved from his sleeping spot. This means that Nico had come over to his side while she was still half asleep. The girls understand now, and kudos to Shino for using his big brain energy to max level in order to save face. Eri asks Nico if Shino touched her anywhere, but she says sorry to him and says it was indeed just a big misunderstanding. Bro is glad he didn't get cooked here, and then Yuki asks Nico if she is fine now. She reveals that she was having a dream about catching a deer, and then the girls tease Shino for thinking he was going to get the treat of his lifetime. He tells them to stop with this nonsense, but it's all in good jest, so it looks like everyone is finally getting along properly. For now that the day has begun, Shino needs to figure out what the team will be doing today. He says that they will need to collect rocks, but he does not reveal what he wants to do with them. He says it's a surprise, so now he has the girls' attention. Nimi seems to have an idea, so she says that she will go collect some wood. Shino is impressed by her intellect, and then allocates tasks to the other girls as well. Eri is going to help Nimi with the wood, Yuki will search for provisions, and Nico has already decided that she will catch fishes. It's not that important, but Shino allows her to go ahead with that. Yuki says that she will rely on Rita for help with the provisions, but Shino still does not trust the shady monkey. He then makes fun of Nico, saying that she won't be able to catch many fishes. Eri asks Shino what he plans to do, but he says he actually has tons to plan. The first is that he will make earthenware, for which he will need clay and charcoal. The girls are amazed by how Shino's mind works because he is really going to become the MVP. He tells his harem babes that today they will learn what it is like to be in the Paleolith and Jaman period. He also tells the squad that they should only search up until the river, and if they come across any wild animals, then they should just run back to the cave. Everyone gets to work, and surprisingly enough, it's Nico who shows up first with the clay. Shino asks her if she's fine with dirtying her bag, to which she says she can just wash it in the river. Now, she wants to go fishing, and she notices a fishing rod with Shino, which he has just been able to make. Nico snatches the rod from our hero, throws the string into the water, despite our hero asking her to wait. Nothing is happening, so Nico asks why it's not like the game where you catch fish instantly. Shino is not too impressed, as he reveals that Nico still needs to attach the bait to the rod. He throws her an earthworm, but these things are scary to Nico. Shino asks her if she is going to give up, but she says that she will do it. Our hero continues making his earthenware, and Nico tells him that he's really enjoying it. He asks her to focus on fishing, but nothing is biting for now. Suddenly, the string moves, which means that she may have caught something. Nico celebrates, but there is no reel on the rod, so she will need to pull it up. This leads to a hilarious series of events that cause Nico to fall, and Shino to catch her by her thighs. Nico panics and tells Shino not to hold her like this, because it falls under diddler activities. However, Shino tells her to stop fooling around, because she can catch a cold if she gets wet in the river. They don't have any medicine to heal her for now, so Nico allows our hero to be in this shady position with her. Shino tries his best to bring Nico back up, but this only makes things freakier, and the curvy babe feels it. Eventually, Shino does save Nico, but they end in a pose that most dogs would be able to relate to. Nico is still holding on to the rod, because she wants to eat her catch no matter what. She asks our hero to help her out, so he turns on Chad mode and takes it from there. He tells Nico that they are going to pull up the rod slowly, and wait for when the catch is closer to them. On the count of 3, they pull up the rod, although it looks like Shino has lifted up Nico as well. Anyway, they end up catching a decently sized fish, which is great news for Nico. Our hero is actually impressed that his shabby rod was able to pull up a catch this big. And then his babe tells him that she has never seen this kind of fish before. She wonders if this is a new species, but Shino says it's an iguana. Nico is showing a lot more than just the fish, so Shino looks away, making it awkward for her. She accuses him of being creepy, but he does an Uno reverse by stating he should be the one saying that. Anyway, Nico is happy that she is not useless, as she has been able to catch a fish. She wants to eat it now while it's fresh. But Shino says they will have to wait till the others come back, and he also has to stuff the pot with charcoal. Nico thanks Shino for helping her catch the iguana, but he also thanks her for making sure they are going to have fish tonight. Now, as our hero continues working, Nico asks him about something when he got behind her. She says that she felt something poking at her, which was obviously Bro's elephant. They laugh over it, and Shino tells Nico to stop accusing him of Drake-level acts. She actually thinks it's fine for such instances to happen time and again, which leads Shino to once again state that he is the victim here. Either way, it should have been me, not him. We get even more jealous when Nico suggests going on a date when they get back to reality, if that is even possible for them. Shino is surprised that a girl like Nico would suggest something like that, but she is not joking, as she says that they should indeed go on a date when possible. With that, they promise each other this date and get back to joking around. Now, the other girls come back and are pleasantly surprised to see that Nico was able to catch a fish. She says that while Shino did help her, she was the one that lured it out and caught it. The pot is baking at the moment, and the other girls have also done their part. There are enough items now, but Yuki came back with some of the poisonous mushrooms as well. Eri asks him if he is going to toss the mushrooms away, but he says that he will use them as a talisman. Basically, if he hangs the mushrooms outside the cave, they will ward off any wild animals that might be nearby. After all, they are more sensitive to poison than humans, so Shino once again proves that he is the final boss of survival. The girls are impressed, and then Nimi asks our hero to take a look at her rocks. She has split them according to their size and type, which is a really good job. Shino asks her if she knows anything about rocks, but she says that she only did this because she assumed that he would do the same thing. Bro calls her smart, and Nimi looks away to act cool, but she is actually blushing because of the compliment. Our hero now admits that he has miscalculated things, because he did not think that his babes would work so hard. They are skillful as well, so this is a nice little bonus for him. Suddenly, Shino notices something suspicious near the bushes, but then the girls call him for the meal. It seems as though there is someone watching them, but our hero thinks it's just his imagination, so he goes on to enjoy the fish. The next day, we move to the afternoon, and Shino is asked what his plan of action is for today. He says that since they are making great progress, he wants to speed things up a bit by swapping roles. Nico wants to do more fishing, and Yuki wants to collect more provisions, so they are allowed to continue that. Eri is told to collect mud, and then Shino tells Nimi that he wishes to start manufacturing stones. She has understood the assignment now, and states that she will take over the earthenware job. She is a bit familiar with the Jaman period, so she just needs some pointers from Bro. Shino knows that Nimi has historical knowledge and is also quick on the uptake, so his life will become easier. Nimi tells Nico that she will go with her to the river, so she asks if she too wishes to fish. She says no quite bluntly, leading Shino to say that Nimi is a bit colder than the other girls. However, she did go a great job with the rocks, sorting them out efficiently, which means that she trusts our hero. With these rocks, he will now be able to make stone tools, and he wants to begin with something like a knife or an axe. Shino makes his plan and gets to work, because this is the job of Giga Chads. Bro becomes very intense, and soon enough, he has made an axe which will be a great tool for collecting materials. Eri shows up and asks if this is a stone axe, and Shino says that he is making stone tools like this one to make life smoother for them. Eri has Nico's bag with her, so she explains that she had borrowed it for collection. She will return it after washing it, and then she commends our hero for doing one amazing thing after another. He says that's not true because Eri was the one who gathered the wood for him. Nimi was the one who had picked the rocks, so this is proper teamwork and the right kind of equality. However, as Bro tries to be wholesome, he notices Eri's pillows, and then the demons awaken within him. He is flustered by her curvy body, and tries his best to control his shady intentions. However, Eri simply giggles at Shino because she can see that his elephant is standing in attention just from him looking at her. He says that it can't be helped because he is on comic guzzlers, and he also remembered the events of yesterday. This makes Eri a bit conscious, but she is not one to shy away from a challenge. She goes up to Shino and asks him if he would like her to do it again. Bro's eyes light up and he asks Eri if she is sure about this, but she laughs once again, meaning she was teasing him. Either way, our hero can't afford to be caught lacking right now because he has a job to do. Eri asks him if he doesn't want her to do shady things, and she has his attention again. He then catches a glance of her stockings, which is unfair because in these school uniforms, it's almost as if Bro is around constant cosplay. Eri decides to do it now because Shino has been doing a lot for the girls. She wants him to think of this as a reward, however. She realizes that her hands are covered in mud, so that won't be good for the python. There is no way at all that our hero is going to let this opportunity pass, so he asks Eri if there is another way. Eri says that she can use her tongue twister 9000 and this is all it takes for Shino to get his body and mind focused on completing this mission. He takes Eri into the cave, and we can only imagine what unspeakable things may have happened there. Bro is so energized now that he completes his tasks by the time the other girls come back. He has made a whole bunch of primitive weapons for them in so little time, which is almost flash-level speed. Eri also points out that Shino did a lot of work pretty quickly, and then Yuki says that it calls for a reward. Of course, reward means something very different to Shino and Eri, but then Nico reveals that she has caught a total of 5 fishes today. This means there will be 1 for each of them, and even the pot is done baking, so they will have some nice food now. Nico makes fun of Nimi for being scared of earthworms, but Shino reminds her that even she was terrified of them the first time. He doesn't care though because the group has a meal to enjoy. Our hero then reveals that he has also made some salt by boiling the seawater in a bento box. It's not much, but it will do for now. Now, Shino and the girls cook the fishes with salt, and as expected, they turn out to be much more delicious than the curry powder trick. Eri notices that the meat is a little bitter, but Shino says that's because of the minerals. He could filter it further to make it like table salt, but the girls say it's fine. Nimi says that this is an ideal environment, and Shino agrees with her. Yuki does not understand what they mean by this, so Nimi explains that the weather is perfect for them, as it isn't too hot or cold. The humidity is on point, they have access to a cave, a river, and the sea too, so they can't really ask for more. Eri states that Nimi is talking as if she is Shino himself, but she says that her knowledge is only limited to history, not survival. Now, our hero says that the temperature may be fine, but something very important is missing, and that's mosquitoes. The girls wonder if these insects are that important because all they need to do is whack them, but Shino explains that mosquitoes cause the most human deaths per year, even more than other humans. The statistics are quite scary, and then Shino states that he has not come across any scorpions, snakes, or other venomous creatures. So, in terms of survival, life is a lot easier without these creatures. The girls are relieved to hear this, and they ask what they should do tomorrow. Nimi would love to take a bath, and Eri agrees with her. Yuki asks if Shino can make a bathtub, and even Nico adds to the request. He is glad to see that the babes are adapting to the situation, so he tells them that if they set their minds on it, then they can make a bathtub within a week. However, he wants to focus on the other parts of their survival as well. The girls are curious, so he says that he wants to be prepared for bad weather with preserved food and better hygiene. This would mean creating things like soap, and the mere mention of it is enough for the girls to go crazy. Shino says they already have the ingredients for it, but they won't be able to make the soap and the bathtub at the same time. The girls have a discussion and decide that the soap is more important than the bathtub. So now, they state that they will focus on preserved food and soap, making Shino happy. Everyone is excited, but then a shady character appears after hearing their plans. Nico panics upon seeing her, so she strikes her fishing rod, but ends up attacking Shino instead. Our hero falls to the ground in front of this strange girl, and he gets quite the view. He quickly moves his head before more accusations come towards him, and then this girl asks the crew to let her in as well. She feels it will be more fun that way, but she does seem like the villain type. 6. We switch to colored panels for a bit, as this girl asks once again to be let into the group. The other babes recognize her as Isekai'd, but this is odd because she is not from their class. Shino is suspicious now because he believed the Sumeragi brothers got transported here with them due to them being in the same classroom at the time. Asa states that she is with someone, and we see this other girl, who is Asakura's little sister, Hina. She cutely bites her tongue, and we learn that Hina is a first-year student. Having a younger sister with her does make Asa a bit more trustworthy, and the girls call her little sister cute. Our hero now has a lot to think about, because even a student younger than them has been transported to this island. It makes him wonder exactly how many humans are over here. Asa now asks if the group will accept the two of them, but the girls look to their leader for his approval. Shino says that he does not mind more people as long as they are willing to help with the work. The sisters look at each other and say that they will definitely be useful to the group. They show their handicraft tools and state that they are part of the handicraft club in school. So they have neat skills. They have a lot of weaving tools, and they say that they were researching them in the club room when they suddenly got teleported here. Basically, they will be able to make simple clothes, which is once again good news for everyone. Asa explains that basic outfits only needed holes on each side, so it won't be tough for her to do it. Shino adds that these clothes were famous during the yayoi period, but the girls are just relieved they can get new clothes. They want futons as well, but Asa says those will take some time. The group is relieved that they could speak with Asa normally because this is the first time they are talking to her. She says that she is usually a shy girl, but Hina is even shyer than her, so she needs to do her best to help her sister. Now, Nimi asks her to wait a minute, because she is surprised that these two have not met anyone ever since they woke up. After all, Raito and Baya should have been on their way, because they had set up a signal since yesterday. Asa explains that due to some issues, she and Hina had been watching Shino and his babes today. Our hero realizes that it must have been Asa he had sensed yesterday, so he asks her about that as well. Now, she reveals that when she and Hina woke up, they were inside a cave. They stayed there for a while and then they saw the signal, so they walked towards that. On the way, they bumped into some other people who were heading towards Raito's camp, and they stayed over there for one night. Hina seems to be getting spooked by this chat, so Shino asks Aya what happened. He thinks that the sisters had to run away, so Asa decides to give him a flashback story. We now see the events of that night where Asa and Hina are in the Sumireiji camp. Raito is taking care of the fire and is commanding his men, after which Baya goes to the girls to offer them some food. Asa goes to take the food, and she thanks Baya for his efforts, but then he sits next to her and says that everything will be all right. He says that a rescue team will come soon, but he starts acting creepy, so Asa avoids him. He then holds her face and says that they should get to know each other, and then she looks back to see how the girls are being treated by the boys in this camp. This is super shady activity, but Baya says that is how survival works in this world. He places his hand on Asa and tells her that he is guaranteeing her survival, so she should do something in return for him. Hina gets scared of Baya, and then he even says that he may not be interested in the younger sister, but he will still go for her once he is done with Asa. Baya is really pushing the line here, so Asa loses her patience and knocks his hand away. She tells him not to touch her and never to lay his pathetic hands on her sister. Baya says she should not be this way because he is the one keeping them protected. Asa decides to take Hina with her and says that she is leaving this group because she does not want such disgusting protection. Baya loses his patience, so he grabs Asa's hand and tries to have his way with her. Luckily, Raito steps in and tells the two of them to stop fighting because they must follow the rules. Baya tells his older brother it's because Asa wants to leave, so Raito tells her she has food and water over here. Help will come soon, so she should not be complaining, but she says that she isn't sure if everyone is following Raito out of their own free will. Raito notices the shady things happening behind him, and he's sure there are others who don't want to be here. He will not force Asa and Hina to stay here, so he says they can leave if they want. On that note, the sisters leave, but Baya tells his brother that he is being a bit too extra with the leniency. Raito says that rules need to be followed, so they should not bother about those who won't obey their rules. Baya agrees with him, but in his mind, he doesn't understand the need for rules in a place where there is no need for money or politics. Now, we are back to the present where the girls are disgusted by Baya and his methods. Asa is just glad that she and Hina could leave while they could. And Nimi says sorry for doubting them. Asa says she doubted this group at first as well, but after seeing how happy they are with each other, she knows she has come to the right place. She then thanks Shino for letting her and Hina in here, and he is surprised that she has already remembered his name. He still has something on his mind, and reveals that he needs to stop Baya while he still can. Asa says that Baya only listens to Raito, who is quite strong, so in that case, Shino wants to split them apart from the inside. The girls feel that a sibling quarrel would create issues for the whole camp, but Shino is thinking way ahead. Baya is seemingly stronger than Raito, so if he were to take over from his older brother, then things could get messy. The girls interrupt Bro's process, because they have to welcome Asa and Hina to the group. They are offered some food, but they only have mushrooms for now. The sisters are happy to have found the right people, but Shino knows that he will need to use his big brain energy even more now. He is aware that Baya would like to get his shady hands on his babes, and things will only get worse if he learns that our hero has increased his harem. Some serious preparations need to be made, and now we move to the next day at the sea. Shino is preparing for a dive, and Yuki also happens to show up. She woke up early and saw our hero leaving, so she decided to follow him here. Shino says he wanted to finish up before everyone wakes up, so Yuki asks him what he's doing for them now. He says he's actually doing this for himself as he likes diving. This is the first time Bro is alone with the babe leader, and she teases him by saying he should consider himself lucky for being alone with a babe like her. Shino laughs and says that Yuki really is beautiful, which makes her blush. She asks him if she can help out with whatever he is doing here, but she does not wish to participate in the game of elephants and kitties. She's just messing with him, but then Shino takes off his shirt to reveal his muscles. Yuki panics, but he says that if he doesn't take off his clothes, he won't be able to dive in the ocean. Of course, he does not frame his words well, so Yuki thinks he is having intrusive thoughts. She makes a funny face, and then Shino finally reveals that he is going to dive into the ocean to collect seaweed. He also tells Yuki to call the ape of culture to help her collect some seashells. Yuki is relieved now, but her face is red, so Shino asks her what's up. She scolds him because she is flustered, but this causes her to trip onto him, and the both of them fall onto the ground, which leads us to another flirty moment. 7. The two of them are a bit too close for comfort, and things are really tense for a while. Yuki is on top of our hero, so he eventually tells her to get off him before it becomes too hot for him to handle. He also says that she's a bit heavy for him, but that's only because of her pillows. Naturally, this makes her red with rage, and she scolds him again for being rude to her. Shino asks Yuki why she is so angry, but she is basically upset that Shino is not reacting excessively to her. He says that he is trying to keep himself calm, and he would really want her to get off him. Yuki now acts proud and says that Shino must be an innocent boy, so he should obviously feel this flustered. Instead, our hero tells Yuki that her ears have been red for a while, so she is the one who is flustered. Naturally, Yuki can't believe this because she is super popular and can get any guy she wants. Shino wants her to get off, but she pins him to the ground and says that he's kind of weak. He says this is only because she has mounted him and he does not want to hurt her. Now, Yuki has a shady smile on her face, so Shino asks her what she wants. She basically can't believe that an untouched boy like Shino is making fun of her, so she will now take his lips. Bro is so shocked that he genuinely can't move, and we can't believe that he's got so much unintentional rizz. Yuki basically wants to show that she has the edge when it comes to romantic stuff, and she quickly steals a kiss from our hero. She even celebrates it, but Shino is just surprised by her actions. However, Yuki thinks that he is lying because he is not too excited. Shino figures that he is not reacting too much because he has already been with Eri a couple of times. Yuki is upset that a boy like Shino is so calm with her, so she wants to have another go at it. No sane man will deny this, so the two of them have a soft tongue twister 300 session. They go at it for a while, and things are indeed quite shady between them. As a matter of fact, even Yuki is starting to feel a bit hot and heavy, while Shino is just trying to accept what has just happened. Suddenly, Yuki can feel something pressing against her. So Shino states that it's obviously his python. He still hasn't sealed the deal with Eri, so he's technically innocent even now. Now, Yuki says that boy get built up tension, and since they have been here for 3 days, Shino must be going crazy. Of course, Shino can't tell her about Eri, so he just plays along with Yuki for now. Now, Yuki asks him why he is pretending to be so tough because it's fine to be a little embarrassed. She is a pro at this, so she wants to teach him a thing or two about pillow jobs. Shino asks her if she is sure about this, and she says that she will actually only use her hands for now. After another shady session, Bro is refreshed and tells Yuki he feels much better now. She is feeling a bit shy, but states that this was a piece of cake for her. Shino wanted to get back once everyone woke up, but because of this session it will be noon by the time they get back. He has underwater goggles, which impresses Yuki, but he says that he had simply left them in his swimming bag. Now, Yuki tells our hero to keep this a secret between them, and he says yes, although he is already keeping a secret from her. After a bit of scouting around the sea, Shino comes back with a load of seaweed and seashells. The girls are glad to see this, and they reveal they were worried that Shino had vanished. He says that he had to get stuff for the soap, but then Nimi says she suspected something when Yuki and Shino were missing. Both of them blush because they know what they were up to, but Shino says that Yuki was with Rita, who is nicely cushioned between her pillows. Now, Asa and Hina show up to reveal what they have been working on, and we see that they have already made some futons. Nico sinks into one of them, but comments that they are a bit prickly. Asa says that she and Hina patched the sheets they were able to find, so it's not a real futon, but it's still a great help. Asa says that they will have one for each person here by nighttime, and Hina sweetly tells everyone to do their best. Nico has caught lots of fish, and Eri too has found some edible items. Shino says that if things continue at this pace, then they will be able to stock up nicely. Eri shows all the items she has brought, including meadow saffron, which Shino says is poisonous. Eri feels bad about this, but then our hero tells her that she has found something important. The cherimoya, which is known as the ice cream fruit of the forest. It's very rare to get one of these in Japan, and the word ice cream gets all the girls excited. The fruit seems ripe, so it's definitely edible, and it was a wise choice by Nimi to have wooden spoons ready for this. The cherimoya may not be like actual ice cream, but it is sweet and delicious, which is good enough for the girls. Shino says this is all thanks to Eri, and she figures she needs to remember where she picked this up from. Shino tells the girls not to eat the seeds or the shell, but Nico has already finished hers, so she might be cooked. As the girls enjoy their food, Shino analyzes their current state. There's enough food, water, and salt, so that's a good thing. He also has the stone tools, futons, and the ingredients for soap. If everything goes to plan, our hero will be able to build a house soon, which shocks all the other girls. They can't believe that such a thing is possible, but Nimi knows that it will be like a dugout. Nico would prefer a proper house, but Shino says that they are anyway getting more materials, and perhaps more people will also join them. With all this in mind, he is certain that he can make a dugout, and at this point, the girls think he can make anything. Nico says that it really was the right choice to tag along with Shino instead of Raito, and the others agree with her. Of course, there is a long way to go, but people are pumped, so they set out to do their afternoon assignments. After a long day at work, the girls come back to their futons and can finally relax. This does feel like a school trip with everyone pitching in, and our hero is just glad to have a nice, comfy futon. He has to focus on food preservation next, because if this world has 4 seasons, then the wintertime will arrive within 4 months. However, there are other things to worry about because in the night it starts to rain like crazy. There is tons of rain, and this is bad news, as our hero wakes up in the middle of the night. He rushes to the entrance of the cave and notices all the rain around him. The water seems to be flowing into the cave, which is also not good for anyone. 7.5. Before we move further, there is a bonus chapter where we see the girls throwing rocks on top of each other. Shino explains that this method is called Ishiu Chiryu, which is basically generating vibrations from the rocks to knock out the fish. The method does work, but it seems to be a banned technique in the modern era. Now we're back to the storm, which is getting worse by the minute. The water flow is bad, so Shino rushes back to the girls to wake them up. The girls are a bit confused at first, but the sound of thunder wakes them up properly. Shino says that the cave is starting to flood, leading Nico and Yuki to believe that they will drown. Shino says that it is dangerous to go out of the cave at night, so they need to go to the higher ground in the cave. Nimi says that they need to move their stuff as quickly as they can, but they don't know what to prioritize. Nico's cosmetics are all over the place, and her face says it all. She is losing her items, and even the futons are becoming wet, so it leads to a lot of panic between the girls. They feel all their effort is going to go to waste, and it only gets worse when the water douses out the fire too. Shino has to be the hero again, so he lights his phone's flash and tells the girls that they can get through this if they just deal with things calmly. The flood isn't happening that quickly, so they have plenty of time to retreat. They will first move the items with high priority, such as things that can be damaged by water and provisions. The items that can be used again even after getting wet will be looked at later. With that, the girls get to work and start with the food, because the futons can always be stuffed with more items later. Shino is glad that everyone has calmed down, and now he knows his harem will pull it off. The cave does get flooded, but the team members have managed to get most of the stuff away from the water. They are on higher ground, so there's no worry about flooding here. Shino tells everyone they have done a good job in an emergency situation, but the girls tell him they were lucky he noticed this right on time. Our hero is very dependable, and he says that they will look for a new shelter outside when dawn breaks. This space is a bit cramped, but the team should get as much rest as they can. All the girls seem to be asleep, but Shino is still awake as he realizes he has made a big mistake. He states that he should have made a canal in preparation for this kind of issue, but focused on the supplies instead. It was actually bad timing, but luckily, nothing bad happened. Shino knows he can't make that mistake again as he is the leader of the group, and all his babes' lives depend on him. Bro can't fall asleep with all the stress on his mind, but then someone holds on to his arm. Shino can't tell who it is because of the darkness, so he assumes that Nico could be sleepwalking again. However, he can hear Nico snoring from a distance, so this is someone else. Shino likes the warmth, so he holds this girl too. She seems to be moving now, and opens her mouth, after which she lands a few pecks on Shino's neck. Bro is absolutely shocked, especially when this mystery girl starts nibbling on his ears. He tells her to please chill because the others are sleeping right in front of them. Shino wonders if this girl is trying to make him feel better, or if she wants his attention. Whatever the reason might be, Shino is a man of culture, so he is not going to refuse. He actually welcomes this treatment, but the only problem is that he can't afford to have anyone else find out about it. The sound isn't enough to exceed the rain noise outside, so Shino goes for it and unleashes the tongue twister 300. He feels that this girl could be doing this because he can't see her, but it's not like he can hold back either. He goes for her pillows, but then he hears someone, so his heart almost stops beating. Luckily, it's just Nico talking in her sleep, so there's no need to worry. However, Shino notices that the girl is gone now. Even so, all the worries he had are flowing away, and he wonders if she is still there. He wants to know if there is something wrong, which is making her hesitate, but anyway, he is not feeling as stressed as he was a while back. Now, the day begins, and with sunlight, it appears as though the one comforting Shino was Nimi. She appears to be in a trance, so things are getting quite interesting. 9. Seeing Nimi like this makes Shino actually consider that she was the one who got with him. She did leave his side before anything serious happened, but Shino chose to stay awake and wait till the morning light came in. The rain has stopped now, which is good news for the girls, and Nimi says that she had worried it would keep going. Nimi does seem like her usual self, so it could be that Shino was just having a dream. Asa asks Shino if they should leave the cave as is, but he says there is too much water, so they will have to drain it all. In order to do this, they will need to let dry soil soak up the water, and then scoop it all out. Asa asks if there is any dry soil after a storm, but Shino says they can use natural sunlight and a bonfire to their advantage. Everyone is on cleaning duty for now, and they do manage to dry out the cave, although it does take them a lot of time. Shino says they are to go back to their normal tasks after lunch, so he tells Nico and Yuki to go ahead with the food supplies. He then asks Eri to make the soap, which will not be that difficult of a task. Asa and Hina are told to repair the futons, and Nimi is told to come with our hero because he is going to teach her how to hunt. Nico also wants to hunt, but Shino tells her that they are just setting up traps. Nico is still angry, so Bro tells her she will be able to catch more fish after a heavy downpour. Now, Shino and Nimi start observing the tracks of rabbits and boars in this forest. The first trap our hero makes is a falling rocks trap, which is quite simple and handy. Nimi takes notes as Shino explains animals feel safer following their own tracks, which is why he's keeping the traps close to them. Next up, he will be digging a pitfall for the wild boars, but it will take some time, so he and Nimi get to work. As the trap is being laid, Nimi finally gathers the courage to ask Shino about last night. Our hero realizes that it was indeed real and not a dream, and Nimi says sorry for surprising him like that. Shino says it's no problem, but Nimi wants him to talk some more. He does not know what exactly to say in such a situation, but then Nimi reveals that she was really scared for everyone. If it had continued raining, then they all could have lost their lives, but since everyone was so positive, she decided to play along with them. Shino now figures that he may have been able to trick the others, but the smart Nimi knew that everyone was in grave danger. It's odd because she is usually super chill, but even she must have emotions like the other girls. Shino apologizes for not preparing for storms in advance, but Nimi says they are all fine only because of him. She also says that she is glad he is here with her, which makes things a bit flirty. Shino knows that he gets to talk to Nimi often because she trusts in him. However, he does not know what led to the events of last night. Could have been his own intrusive thoughts, but then Nimi decides to confess. She reveals that the darkness got her thinking how she has only studied her whole life, and she wants to experience other things too. Basically, she does not want to live a short and sweet life without experiencing the joys of shady activities. She at first thought it would be impossible to do such things inside the cave, but since it was dark, she figured that no one else would notice them. However, lighting struck at the wrong time, so she retreated from her actions. Shino is just glad that Nimi is curious about such things, and is not in love with him. Such is the power of his Riz. Nimi is still feeling really shy, but Shino is happily setting the trap for his target. It takes him a while to make one pitfall, but he has been able to create a proper trap for a wild boar. The sun is still up, but Nimi asks Shino if they should check out the cave that Asa had mentioned. It's in the middle of their base and the evil base, so Shino figures they can scout the area. However, Nimi holds him from behind and says that they should pick up from where they left off inside the cave. She wants Bro to teach her the ways of men of culture, and this would be a dream come true for him, but he has to activate Chad mode. He apologizes to Nimi and says he can't, so she asks him if he does not want to do it with her. He says that is not the reason because he personally would love it, but he does not have any protection on him. The risk is way too high because he does not want Nimi to get pregnant and have a baby. He has no medical knowledge about these things, and there are wild beasts around too. He feels really bad about it, but Nimi is touched by his sincerity because he is still considering her safety here. She is lucky to have our hero by her side, so for now, she will just take some foreplay. The tongue twister 300 comes out, but this is enough to awaken Bro's raging bull. He slams Nimi to the ground, so she feels he is about to awaken the dark side, but actually, he is not trying to do anything shady with her. Shino brings out his knife because he can sense something is nearby. He figures there is still some distance between them, so he asks Nimi if she can make it back on her own. She says there are landmarks, so she should be fine, but she also wants to know what it was that our hero just heard. He says it's the sound of a tiger, so he is going to check it out, He tells Nimi he'll be careful, so she should just focus on getting back to the cave. She listens to her leader, and then Shino decides to follow the sounds. He runs up to the edge of a cliff, and then he notices the tiger right below him. The beast looks quite angry, so our hero wonders what could have caused this. Suddenly, someone shows up and calls the tiger Stripey-chan as if he is its Oni-chan. This person is revealed to be Baya, who has a whole gang of men and weapons with him. He tells the tiger that this is going to be his turf from now on, and this is definitely bad news for Shino. The first thing that Baya does is ordering his group to surround the tiger. There are way too many people following Baya, so Shino wonders if he joined up with some other survivors. The fight begins, and clearly the tiger is way too strong even for multiple boys. Some of them fall back because it's going to be an impossible win. However, some of Baya's followers threaten the nerds to go back and fight if they want to keep being fed. Baya even catches one of the innocent kids and throws him at the tiger to cause a distraction. He basically wants to use them as meat shields, and the other nerds are also forced to move forward. The tiger launches an attack on one of them, and is able to strike down an innocent chap with its paws. The boy is bleeding and begs for help, but Baya only sees this as a chance to attack the tiger while it's not alert. He tells the boys to stab the beast and even promises a curvy babe to whoever brings it down. Now, the tiger gets stabbed from all angles, so it's put on the defensive. It lets out a roar, but Baya says that the humans are the ones who stand on top of the world. With that, he pierces the tiger's face and ends its life. The boys have won, although real life would definitely have gone a different way. Sadly, one of the nerds has lost his life, and his friends cry over his death. Shino did expect this to a certain degree, but it's a lot worse than what he had imagined. Baya didn't hunt the tiger for food or safety, but rather to display his dominance. Our hero has countermeasures to the evil Baya, but he can't afford to be caught lacking, otherwise he will lose his harem. He goes back to the girls, and they welcome him with joy. It looks like the soap is ready, because Eri tested it out on Nimi, who came back covered in mud. The girls want to know what happened, but our hero says he will explain it later. He asks where the others are, but they haven't come back yet. Shino sends Eri and Nimi to go look for them, and he laments how they have gotten used to this kind of life. However, now that they have become habituated, he should make the most of it and teach them real survival. Asa shows up from behind and asks what the matter is. So our hero explains that he noticed something troubling. She doesn't seem too fazed by it, and she says it's because she is with Shino. She knows that if something were to happen, then he will just activate Chad mode and save them all. She gets a bit too close to him, but it turns out that she wants to measure him for a new outfit. She takes a feel of his chest and says that he is a lot stronger than he looks. Bro becomes shy, so he says that he has trained his body that way. But Asa pulls him even closer and says he must not move. It really should have been me, not him. Anyway, upon closer inspection, Asa does notice that there are some messed up spots in Shino's uniform. His buttons have come off too, so she scolds him for not taking better care of his shirt, especially in a world like this. Shino says he will be more careful from now on, and this makes her happy. Asa hugs our hero and says that she's glad he's honest with her. She will fix up his buttons, but it looks like he may need his elephant to get fixed too. Shino asks Asa if she really needs his measurements to make the ancient clothing kantui, to which she reacts oddly. Asa blushes and says that bro has figured her out. Shino realizes that Asa was teasing him, but she just wanted to talk to him about something. She is not a very chatty kind of girl, so Shino figures that Asa is either someone who loves nature, or this could be her true self all along. She's not like this in school at all, because she's always alone reading a book. Shino says that Asa is pretty and the quiet type, which makes it difficult to approach her. Asa believes that taking Shino's measurements wasn't a waste, because they need to prepare in advance if they want to live a better lifestyle. Bro knows she is a strong woman inside, but suddenly, she measures his lower body too, which makes things awkward. Suddenly, Hina shows up just like Drake would want to see her, and says that she wants to wash her uniform with soap. She asks for some strings, but notices her sister in an odd position with Shino. She is a bit compromised too, so she runs back into the cave and feels extra embarrassed. Now, the other girls come back, so our hero tells them how Baya hunted the tiger. Nico feels that it's good for them if the tiger is no more, but the others say that there could be others. However, Shino says that the real problem is Baya, not the danger kitty. He noticed how the enemy's group has already established ranks, and are using the weakest like their slaves. They are hunting by using other humans as shields, so if they switch their target to our hero's group, then things are going to get really messy. Nico is ready to throw down with the villains, and says they should make lots of weapons. Eri says they should make traps too, and Yuki agrees because they have knowledge about their area. Nimi says they are at an advantage then, and there is no reason to fear as long as our hero is here. However, Bro says that he can't take the life of another human because he is a man of culture. It's fine if he's going against animals, but if he were to fight another human, then he's sure he won't be able to take their life. The girls ask him what he's going to do then, so he says he has a plan, but is not sure if it will work. The girls trust him, so they tell Shino to reveal his plan, as they are sure they will succeed if they work together. That's when our hero says that they should abandon this cave. Everyone moves to the beach, which Hina and Asa find very beautiful. Yuki asks Shino why they are here, because the plan was originally to counter Baya. Our hero points towards something, but Yuki can only see cliffs. He asks her to move towards it to get a better idea, and we can see that there's a hole in the cliff which makes it like a cave. Shino says that it's only possible due to the nature of the cliff. Upon entering, they notice that the cave is a lot more spacious inside, and it's also above sea level. Shino had found this area while searching for seaweed, but now the girls want to know what his plan is. Shino reveals that they will be shifting their base to this cave now, because they need to avoid any and all contact with the enemy. Yuki figures that since the entrance faces the ocean, they won't be visible to Baya's group, as his base is in the opposite direction. Asa also states that the enemy will not know where to look for them if they see their previous cave empty. Shino wants to check out the surrounding area some more, but it will take time. However, he wants to avoid a battle of the classmates, so this is the best possible decision. The girls have no problem with it because this does seem like a better place to live in. Eri says they will need to transfer their belongings, and Nico says it might get confusing while referring to the caves. Nimi suggests naming the caves to make it easier. She calls their current base Shinomiya Cave, and the enemy base, Isekai'd Cave. Eri asks about the name for this cave, and tells Shino to name it. He's a bit shy, but decides to call it Secret Base or Secret Hideout. The girls laugh at this suggestion, because it sounds like something an elementary school kid would say. Bro thinks the name is cool, so Yuki suggests calling it Hideout. It's easy to say, and in line with our hero's suggestion, and everyone agrees with it. Now, the group transfers all their stuff from the Shinomiya Cave to the Hideout Cave. It takes some time, but the preparations get done, and now everyone sits for a nice meal. The meat is tasty, so Shino is glad they could catch rabbits and wild boars in their traps. Nico is shocked to learn that Nimi was the one who ended the rabbit, and it breaks Yuki's heart to eat the meat, but this is what actual survival looks like. Eri is not sure if she can finish all the meat, but Shino says it's fine because they can just make jerky from the leftovers. Nico states that fishing has been a fail for her, so she will need a new rod and hook. Nimi asks what the cave's layout is like, but Eri says it's quite deep, so she hasn't explored it yet. She has drawn a map though, and they learn that there is a lake nearby. This means they can do their laundry there, and the cave also seems to have some spaces they can use as rooms. Since it runs deep, Shino decides to explore it once they are out of danger. Asa asks him if he can predict everything, but he says that there was another reason this place caught his eyes. From here, it will be easier for boats to depart, which means that they can actually build one and sail to the next island. Of course, the main goal is to return to Japan, so there's a lot to be done, especially since they still know as much as Jon Snow regarding this island. Yuki is pleased that her lover boy had thought so much about it, because she had given up hope on going back to Japan. Now it's nighttime and we see everyone busy with their tasks. Shino is busy exploring the cave, because he just couldn't sit there and do nothing. He comes across the north exit that Eri was talking about, and beyond it he sees a beautiful lake. Asa seems to already be sitting there, so Shino goes towards her. What he does not notice is that she is actually on a solo mission in front of the lake. Bro finally sees her finger blaster at work and realizes that he is in the wrong place at the wrong time. Shino tries to make a run for it, but Asa calls out his name, and it makes for a hilarious scene. Shino freezes, but when Asa calls out to him again, he desperately tries to escape. However, to his surprise, Asa asks him if he is planning to leave her alone. Our hero looks back in confusion, as Asa tells him to come to her. She reveals that she was almost about to have an explosion, but she got caught in the act. Suddenly, she grabs Shino's hand and puts it where no hand has been before. Our hero asks if this is okay, but Asa calls him a dummy for being so clueless. She then makes him sit with her and activates Shady Mode. Now, it's time for Shino bring out his Finger Blaster Pro Max and use it on Asa's kitty cat. Things get very shady and suddenly we move to a flashback. We see Shino handing something over to Asa, which was requested by their teacher. Asa notices his unkempt hair, the scars on his hands, and the messy shirt he's wearing. This makes her feel that Shino is different from her, but still the same in many ways. She feels a sense of sympathy for him, and now we move back to the present, where she says it was fate that brought them together again. Soon enough, she has a massive explosion, and a little tongue twister comes out too. Shino asks her if it was good, and if she could let it all out, but that's quite obvious if they're on Comic Guzzlers. Asa asks him if this is the end of their session, because she is willing to go all the way with him. Of course, Bro is a responsible member of society, so he says they are going to need protection for that. Asa then goes to her bag and reveals that she actually does have protection. The packs were given to her during health class in school, and Shino's expressions say it all. Bro does not hesitate at all as he pins Asa down and is ready to unleash beast mode. However, just when he's about to become a man, Shino notices someone fall down behind them. He curses himself for letting his guard down, and then we see that it's a couple of nerds from Baya's camp. Shino tells them to identify themselves, so they beg for their lives. They reveal that they ran away from the Sumeragi camp, but they have also spoiled the mood. They're also boys, not girls, so this messes up the harem balance. The boys are taken to the cave and learn their names. The one with glasses is Tanaka Manta Ro, and his buddy is Kageyama Hakume. The girls call them spies and are ready to punish them, but not in a fun way. Asa actually wants to torture them slowly first because they did get in the way of her session with Shino. Our hero realizes that she is in a bad mood, and he can't blame her because he feels the same way. The nerds say once again that they deserted their camp, so Shino asks for details. The nerds are thankful to our hero for showing mercy, but they need to state their reasons for leaving. It turns out that the evil camp had set up a hierarchy which was divided into 5 ranks by food provision, labor, and so on. The nerds are of the lowest rank, which means they are pretty much slaves. Shino saw this coming from a mile away, and the nerds say that it couldn't be helped as they were stranded here. However, Baya took it too far by telling his followers that they must follow his every rule. He will only recognize those who devote themselves to him, and it's even worse for the girls because he orders them to do unspeakable things to him. Naturally, Shino's girls find this disgusting and become very angry upon hearing it. Shino is a bit surprised though because Raito is not the kind of guy who would enforce such a rule. The nerds reveal that the group had a vote, with the majority siding with Baya. Today, the worst thing had happened, so we got to a flashback where the Sumeragi group met and merged with a bunch of teachers and students. The teachers were tired, and most of the students were girls. The decision of who should lead was split between the teachers and the Sumeragi brothers, but the teachers couldn't just leave it in the hands of kids. Raito told the teachers that his system was already set up and working, whereas the teachers and their group were exhausted and hungry. They countered that it was because they prioritized searching for the other students, not their own survival. That's when Baya told them that the person with the most power would be the one in charge. After all, he was able to gather food and water while also taking down a tiger, although the feasibility of that happening is still debatable. Baya then offered to have a duel, although Yurutto was against it. Baya said that he needed to maintain the chain of command, and this would be the fastest way to do it. The teacher group did not know what to do, because the Sumireiji brothers are peak athletes. Eventually, the P.E. teacher, Nakazaki-sensei, stepped forward and decided to take the challenge. He had a larger build as compared to the brothers, and also had experience in martial arts. Baya got excited to see him, and decided to have the duel right then and there. Yurutto was not on board with this, but everyone started cheering for the fight. Nakazaki charged at Baya, and it did look like he was going to win, but then Baya turned on America mode and shot him down with a gun. Everyone was shocked to see this, even Yurutto, because it was literally out of pocket. Baya said that he never mentioned anything about fighting barehanded, so bro is essentially the living example of a cheater. The teacher group could not believe what they were seeing, as Baya just took a human life. The nerd boys also realized at this very moment that Baya is already as messed up as Eren Yeager, but without the character arc. They figured this would be the best time to run, because they can't entrust their lives to cheaters. Yurutto then told the teacher group that they could either continue on their own, or join them. The teacher group was still in shock, and the nerds used this distraction to run away. Yurutto knew there was no going back, and he had to back his brother to avoid showing conflict. Baya was definitely on board with Yurutto changing up, and the nerds kept running till they interrupted Shino and Asa. Our hero is surprised that the worst possible person to have a gun in this scenario happens to have one. The nerds say he claims it as self-defense for the privileged, but they don't understand what that means. The nerds have had enough of being slaves, so they want Shino to spare their lives. Eri asks Shino what he wants to do, so he says he'll take them in, as they do seem to be telling the truth. The nerds hug him with joy, but he says that if they don't make themselves useful, then they will get kicked out. They're fine with it, but the next day we see that neither Kanta nor Kage can build a fire. It sucks that they can't collect stones either, so Shino figures why they were the lowest rank in the previous group. Asa says it would be best to cut them off, so it's obvious she's still upset over the interruption. Yuki says that even her ape of culture is more useful than the nerds, as he even helped her with food provisions today. Yuki gives a fruit to the monkey, and Shino observes that the other monkeys value it a lot more because it has come from a curvy babe. It's almost as if Yuki has built her own monkey cult without realizing it. Anyway, Kanta and Kage can't believe that even a monkey is more useful than them, but Shino reflects on their current situation. He tells his babes that they will be taking the day off, just like how we have Sundays in our world. Yuki asks if that's fine, and Shino says they have everything they need so they can afford to rest. The nerd boys say they will continue practicing how to light a fire, but only Eri cares enough to tell them to do their best. As the girls discuss what they should do today, Hina tugs at Shino's shirt and asks him for a favor. Now, we move to the edge of the cave where Shino is in his swimming trunks. He wonders if Hina is really serious about this, and then she shows up in her own swimming costume. She's a bit embarrassed, so Shino says they can stop, but she wants to continue, as it must be our hero who has to do this favor. She is a bit nervous though, so she is not too certain, but Shino reassures her and says he's glad to see her this assertive. He has some intrusive thoughts too, but just because Diddy got a light sentence doesn't mean he will too. Now, we see the two of them in a boat, but Hina is having a problem with the instability. When it becomes stagnant, she asks Shino when he built a boat, so he reveals he found a good quality tree, so he carved this by hand. Hina can't believe this, but Shino says he charred the inside, so carving was easy. This is called a dugout canoe, and now we see the two of them maneuvering along the water. Hina is amazed by this, but then her toe touches Shino and she feels shy. Shino says that Hina acts like a kid sometimes, so it must be in her nature. She is quite bold today, as we learn that she wants to go diving. Our hero asks Hina if she is good at it, and she says yes, because she used to snorkel in the countryside during her summer holidays. She feels she can help catch fish by snorkeling, as she wants to be of more help to everyone. Shino thinks she's already doing enough with the sewing, but Hina says it's no different from what she used to do in school. Anyway, they are at the main spot, and Shino tells Hina not to feel bad if she doesn't catch anything. It's supposed to be her day off, so she and Shino dive in and explore the waters. It turns out to be a great exercise because they get a lot of good seafood. The environment is good, so resources will be in abundance, but Hina is also quite skilled at diving. It makes our hero believe that she might even be a sea woman at this point. He can see a lot now because of the wetness of her clothing, but the same logic applies to him as Hina can see his python. It will calm down in some time, but Hina has seen something crazy. Suddenly, she notices something up ahead, and on closer inspection, it looks like a shark. Shino says that it's still far off, so they should just be calm and slowly move away. Hina can't stay calm, so she grabs Shino's face and asks him to save her. Bro realizes that Hina's pillows are actually bigger than her sister's, but he must keep his cool. He tells Hina not to move around, as it can mess with the boat, but then something slips out and rubs our hero's face. At this point, we don't know if it's Riz or some kind of shady magic, but the bottom line is that Shino also panics, and this caused the boat to overturn. Shino curses himself because he should be the calm one. The shark will definitely get alerted like this, so he goes to Hina, who is aggressively splashing the water. Bro holds on to her and tells her everything will be fine, so she should just breathe. He's holding her intently, so it awakens her own intrusive thoughts. But for now, they need to get back to the boat. Shino tells Hina to go to the boat while he takes care of the shark, which is risky, but necessary. Our hero realizes that it is a white eye shark which prefers small fish, but is still a threat. As expected, the noise he made earlier with Hina caught the shark's attention, and curiosity might kill something other than a cat if he doesn't act fast. The shark locates its prey using a larynxum organ at the top of its head, so Shino has to hit it to make it lose that sense. He goes in and punches the shark like Saitama, which is enough for the shark to move away from the scene. Shino goes back up for some air, and Hina is also back on top of the boat. She asks him if he is fine, but he is lucky to have gotten away from a shark after punching it. Hina can't believe our hero just whacked a shark, but Shino calls himself a failure of a survivalist for relying on such methods. Now, we see Nico nearby as she is fishing for food. She is jealous of these two being able to ride a boat, but Shino says this girl does not know what he and Hina had just been through. He tells Nico that the boat is for 2 passengers only, but this prompts her to tell Hina to be wary of our hero, as he is a creep. Those are some serious accusations, but Hina goes to a whole other level by saying Shino just saved her life. Also, she is the one being creepy with him, if anything at all. Hina then lands a kiss on our hero's cheeks, as she says that even if he is a shady guy, he is still amazing. Neither Shino nor Nico can believe this, but Nico obviously adds some more drama to it. She says that Hina and Shino are flirting with each other in front of her, and our hero is no less than a lolicon. It's a funny scene, but then Hina starts crying. Shino asks her what's up, but perhaps she's happy about today. What else is in store for our hero? How many girls is he going to riz? And more importantly, how on earth is he going to counter Baya and his gun? There's lots left in the story, but unfortunately we will have to end the video for now. Shino now asks Hina about why she is suddenly so worked up, and she says that she is just happy about today. She did want to snorkel, but the real reason behind today was that she wanted to be with Shino. Due to her experience with the villain boys, Hina became scared of men, which was why she was counting on her Oni-chan till now. Since the number of boys have now increased in the group, she wanted to do something about it. However, she realized that as long as Shino is there, all will be well. She felt excited and safe at the same time, which was why she decided to follow up on her feelings. Now that she has revealed her true emotions, She asks Shino if she was able to get through to him. She says yes. So Hina rests on his chest because her head is feeling a bit heavy. Bro understands, so he says that Hina is adapting by trying to change herself. The couple now heads back to base, and they come across Asa, who happens to be right there. She welcomes them back, but it's a bit awkward because she is Hina's older sister. Anyway, Asa is told about the shark and says that this is not good news. Shino is eager to know what the matter is, but the two sisters go to the side to have a discussion. This only makes him more anxious, as he is experiencing severe FOMO. Asa asks Hina if she is being serious about what she's saying, to which she says yes, and also apologizes. Asa says it's fine because the one who has to decide is Shino. Bro is super confused, but it turns out that the sisters are now going to fight it out to gain our hero's affection. Once again, this is where you say, it should have been me, not him. Now, we move to Shino doing some kind of exercise with the nerd boys. He is able to carry out his actions smoothly like butter. But the same cannot be said about the other two. Eventually, Kageyama does manage to make it to the finish line, and the girls congratulate him for being a fast runner. Our hero is impressed too because they were running in the forest, although he did take a handicap which allowed Kageyama to win. Tanaka is a bit of a failure here, so while the girls wonder how his buddy was able to run so fast, he puts on an evil smile and reveals that Kageyama was a part of the track and field long-distance running team during middle school. The girls don't understand why he's being so smug about someone else's achievements, but the nerd boys are just happy to enjoy meat and also some tableware. Before, they only had access to poisonous fruits and grass, which is less than ideal. They can save their tears for another day. But then Nico asks why Shino and the girls aren't eating the same meat. Our hero reveals that Eri was the one who caught the animal, so they are experimenting to see if the meat is safe to eat. That may be mean, but at least Bro is better than Baya and Raito. Now, Shino says that the meat should be able to last for a week, which will be helpful to dry and conserve it. The nerds taste the meat and comment that it's too salty, and then they are told that they need to spy on the enemy camp. Kageyama is chosen for this job because he doesn't have much of a presence, although he must have felt the emotional damage. Shino adds that Kageyama can run quite fast, so even if he gets found out while he's spying on the enemy camp, then he can activate flash mode and escape. Tanaka also says that his buddy would be perfect for the job, and it makes him happy. Nico asks Tanaka if he has any hobbies or uses, so he says that he only has anime knowledge. He then goes on to say that he is really good at RPG games, but he is a bit too passionate, so Nico finds it lame. However, Shino says that this could come in handy because Tanaka can do a lot of simple tasks if he has such gaming knowledge. He can extract oil from sesame seeds and olives, while also grinding spices to be used for cooking. Nimi adds that the nerd boy can help her out with investigations and experiment results, which makes him even happier. This is right up his alley, but Bro celebrates as if he just stole the Nobel Peace Prize from Donald Trump. Kageyama is happy for his friend, and it makes for a wholesome moment, although it isn't anything to be proud of. Now, we move to the next day where Shino finds some animal tracks. It matches the information he got from Tanaka about the enemy group not setting foot in the south. He uses his big brain energy to deduce that there may be more animals on the northern side of the enemy camp. Of course, this is assuming the environment doesn't change, but now his attention shifts to Yuki, who has completely trained her monkey cult with her pillows. These apes are setting traps now, but that's actually because Nimi was able to teach them this skill. She still feels that the island is strange, and then Yuki suggests leaving the trapping to her ape cult. Of course, all of this is great, and it makes Shino realize why he needs Yuki for another task, which is to domesticate wild boars. The girls can't believe this is his plan, especially as Nimi figures Shino wants to use them as pigs. Yuki gets excited over the prospect of turning boars to pigs, but Nimi doesn't want to explain the process to her. Shino says it might be a crazy idea, but considering Yuki's cheat code with animals, it's a risk worth taking. He wants to use the boars as emergency rations so that he won't have to worry about meat supplies. Yuki gets even more excited now because they are essentially going to build a boar farm. Nimi is not sure if her curvy friend gets it, because the boars can be used for purposes other than food too. Suddenly, a drop of rain falls onto Yuki's forbidden area, and then the group decides to take some cover at the Shino-miya cave. Nimi says that the Isekai'd cave is closer, but our hero would rather stay out of the enemy's range. With that, the squad rushes towards the Isekai'd cave and begin to work on starting a fire. The girls are worried about flooding again, but Shino seems confident that it won't be a storm like last time. He is sure that the rain will stop by daytime, so they should just rest here for now. Yuki says that she's feeling a bit nostalgic because it's her second time here. But then she notices Nimi and Shino disrobing, so she asks them what they are doing. She is clearly shocked, but then Nimi explains that she will catch a cold if she sleeps in her wet clothes. So it would be a good option to get into her almost birthday suit. It may be embarrassing for Yuki, but then we see Nimi getting a bit too comfortable with Shino over the guise of providing warmth. Yuki can't believe this, so she asks them if they are dating. Shino has nothing to say, but Nimi explains that it will be a lot warmer this way. She even asks Yuki if she wishes to join them, so at this point, every man of culture at Comic Guzzlers demands to be Shino. Yuki does not know how to react because Nimi is being quite forthcoming right now. Our hero figures it must be because of their earlier situation, and the smile on Nimi's face confirms it. Yuki is feeling way too awkward, and it's probably because Shino did not give her much attention even after getting a taste of her finger blaster. All of a sudden, Nimi says something out of pocket by asking Bro to warm her lips too. Both Shino and Yuki are surprised by this, but Nimi maintains that this will warm her up properly when her heart skips a beat. Shino agrees with the logic, but not with the intention. Anyway, he decides to go for it right in front of Yuki, which totally makes her feel some kind of way. Now, she starts to have some intrusive thoughts of her own. So she takes Shino's face away from Nimi because now it's her turn to get warmed up. A crazy tongue twister session follows, and every person watching this is probably ordering a jungle survival guide on Amazon. Shino asks Yuki if this is okay, to which she says she is warmed up just fine. The shady intentions are bursting through the roof, as both Nimi and Yuki look at our hero in an extremely suggestive way, implying they want to play elephants and kitties. They tell Bro to warm them up, and he may have even thought for a moment that he has not been summoned to another world, but to heaven. It's the best feeling in the world for Shino, but he realizes that there is no protection, so he can't do the actual deed. He is a stronger man than most of us, because we would have probably started our own island of babies if we were in his place. Surprisingly, Shino is able to control himself the whole night, despite his situation, thus proving his Giga Chad Ultra Pro Max status. The triple couple returns to the safe house and are greeted by the other girls. They were definitely worried, but they're glad to see Yuki and Nimi so fresh and happy. The same can't be said about Shino though, who looks like he has just fought the strongest final boss in history. He basically didn't sleep the whole night, and then we notice that the nerd boys are surprisingly in the same position. Suddenly, Nico shows up and calls Bro a creep, because she wants to know what he was doing the whole night. Her pillows could smother his face right now, and that's when Shino realizes that the nerd boys were so busy appreciating God's fine work the whole night that they forgot to sleep. Nico asks Shino if he has forgotten about his promise to her, which is basically about the both of them going on a date when they return to Japan. Our hero would obviously remember a date with a total babe, so Nico becomes happy and forgives him for whatever he may have done with Nimi and Yuki. She still says that he needs to keep his hormones in check, but then Eri asks Bro what they should do today. He says they'll do something different, and mentions that Eri has what he needs. She figures what he means, and comes back with some masks. There's a lot of them, and Yuki says she too uses them because they come in handy when her makeup comes off. Eri says that she actually uses masks to hide her face from others, but she is open to sending pictures of herself. Nico worries that Eri might be like Bonnie Blue or Lily Phelps, but Nimi simply says that she is prepared for all that may happen. Asa says that they're useful in case anyone catches a cold, and Shino agrees with her. He goes on to wear one of the masks, and he tells the girls that today, They are all going to wear one for carrying out their mission. Nico comments that our Chad boy looks like a ninja, and he says that today they are all going to scout for fugitives from the Sumireji brothers' camp. Now, we move to Baya in Diddy mode, and the whole camp seems to be copying him. Raito comes back and scolds his brother for wasting time even after the rain stopped. He also says that Baya has taken in too many people, which means the cave can't support the population of the camp. Because of this, the 5th grade guys were out in the rain. Baya only jokes with his brother for entering without knocking, but Raito reminds him that if he does not get enough food, then people will start to die from starvation. If the number of bodies increases, it will become a huge issue for them, especially after they return to Japan. Raito tells Baya to fulfill his role if he wants to continue his shady acts. So Baya gets a bit offended. Raito tells him he doesn't need to make up for it now, because he can see that he's busy. Baya, however, finds it funny that Raito still believes they are going to make it back to Japan. Now, we move back to our hero, who tells his team to look for a deserter from the Imperial team. After all, if they may have been prepared for yesterday's rain, but the enemy's people could have been exposed. Some of them could get sick from the previous storm too. Plus, there's the fact that some may just run away like the nerd boys did. Yuki feels that if they invite these people into their group, they'll be likely to join, considering all of our heroes' girls look so fresh. Nimi figures that Shino is wearing a mask to protect himself from those who may have an infection, but he says this is just a safeguard. Our hero wants to do good things, but also without being found out, which would put his team at risk. He then tells everyone to wait at the Shinomiya or the Isekai'd cave if they get into any kind of trouble. They should also avoid interacting with more than one person. It's time to sort out the teams, and Shino says he will go with Nico. Asa can be with Kageyama, and Nimi can be with Hina. Tanaka is put with Eri, and Shino feels that if they can scout even 1 or 2 people, it will be a success. Yuki asks about what she should do, so Bro tells her to focus on the monkeys collecting food, because they are going to need it if they increase their numbers. Suddenly, Eri asks to be switched from Tanaka, which would definitely have hurt his confidence. Shino agrees and switches her with Nico, who now tells Tanaka that she will be relying on him for directions. With that, it's time to begin scouting, and everyone sets out on their mission for the day. Some time passes by, and we see Shino checking out an empty space with Eri right behind him. Shino tells Eri that they have been walking for a long time, so she should take a break, but she says she's good to go. Even so, our hero wants to conserve his strength, otherwise he may not be able to do much when it will actually count. The both of them now take a breather and drink some water. Shino does admit that his plan could lead to a big waste of time, but he also wonders what the deal is with Eri regarding Tanaka. He asks her if she hates the nerd boy, because he can sense some hostility in her. She asks him if he wants her to pay attention to all the boys in the group, because she finds the nerds annoying. Bro agrees that they can be troublesome, but anyway, Eri asks him something that she needs to know. It's to do with Yuki and Nimi looking so happy and fresh today. So Eri directly asks Shino if he had fun in the night. The look on his face says it all, but he'd rather not go into detail, so he simply says that he was used as a toy by both the girls. Eri does not understand, so he further states that it was an emergency, so no other method was plausible. Eri smiles and asks if he had to endure it, to which he says yes, as he had no other option. The curvy babe decides to comfort our hero, so he asks if she is going to tease him now. Eri apologizes, but does admit that she feels relieved her lover boy did not cheat on her in the night. She takes off his mask and asks if he has built up the tension in his python. So Shino figures she is worried about his eggs not being emptied. Bro can't take it anymore, so he grabs Eri and pins her to the ground while feeling her soft pillows against his face. It's heaven once again for our boy, but he feels a bit shy after such direct contact. He is totally enjoying his moment, and even tells Eri that she is soft and moist. Of course, he does not need to say these things out loud, but passion knows no limits. Shino asks if he can touch Eri, but she asks if he is not touching her enough. She doesn't have a problem though, as she gives our hero a splendid view and says it's time for some pampering. Bro is living his best life once again. So it's time for the customary. It should have been me, not him. Eri asks what they should do next, but Shino wants to get right into the action, although without direct entry. Eri is surprised by his suggestion, but it makes sense given how much he had to endure the previous night. She decides to go ahead with a tongue twister and finger blaster combo strike, and secures a direct hit with bonus points. Now, the two of them continue, and Eri jokes about how she did not really get much of a break. Shino says it was quite refreshing for him, which makes her laugh. But then our hero also tells Eri that she should take care of herself. We don't know if he is referring to solo missions, but Eri says it's fine because he pampers her plenty. Now, she reveals that she wanted to be with Shino today because she has something important to say to him. She then asks if he is really thinking of a way to go back to Japan because she can imagine it must be getting tougher for him day by day, considering the amount of fun he is having here. Shino says it is difficult, but he enjoys thinking about going back home. Eri says that's great, but also reveals that she is wondering if only Shino will try to come back here, even after they find a way back home. This makes sense because our hero had a lot of trouble adjusting to his school life. He had always dreamed of living on a deserted island, because it is paradise to him. Shino really does not know what he would choose if he had to pick between Japan and this island, so Eri says sorry to him for making him consider such a thing. She admits that after coming here, she has changed a lot too, so perhaps it would be best to think about such decisions when the choices are actually presented. Now, it seems as if someone is spying on the couple from a large tree, and she looks like some kind of alpha female. She suddenly makes her way towards another girl, who seems to be working with her. This alpha girl's name is Amain, and she is greeted by a girl who is sitting on some briefcases with an umbrella. Amain says that there was some movement from the target, and her reading is correct. She then asks this fancy girl what she thinks, and her name is revealed to be Sophia. It's time to switch to some other characters, so we have a look at Nico, who is being carried by Tanaka. She tells him to stop swaying around, but her pillows are resting on his head, so his purpose in life has already been fulfilled. He eventually trips and falls, causing Nico to get hurt, so she hurls some insults at him while also calling him disgusting. There's no way they will be able to scout for escapees like this, but Tanaka says that he would have preferred to be with Eri. Nico tells him not to get too ahead of himself because she wanted to stay with Shino. Tanaka says that he loves Eri's long, black hair and her smile, but he also likes Nico because of her massive pillows, so everyone wins here, although Nico doesn't feel that way. The nerd boy tells her that she does not understand romance, but she counters that she has already promised a date to Shino. Having said that, she does admit that she is like Jon Snow when it comes to romance, so Tanaka makes fun of her. Now, we move back to Shino and Eri, who are still looking for scouts. Suddenly, Bro sees someone's shadow, so he gets Eri to duck. Eri suggests that she will talk to these people, but Shino tells her to hide here while he does the talking. Our hero is a bit surprised when he only sees Amain, because he was sure he had seen two shadows. Anyway, he decides to step out and show himself to Amain while stating his name and year. He says he means no harm, but Amain refers to him as Bravo, which means she definitely has had military-grade training. She then throws a pebble towards Eri, causing her to freak out, so Shino looks back to check on her. Amain makes use of this distraction to catch our hero and pin him to a tree, further proving that she is not a normal schoolgirl, but almost like a trained assassin. Shino realizes that he's cooked, but he worries for Eri and goes for his knife. Amain spots this, so she threatens to crush Shino's throat if he tries to attack her. The soldier girl does identify that our hero has a strong sense of decisiveness despite not having any combat experience. But Bro wants to know where this assassin girl came from. Amain demands to know if Eri is armed, and she threatens Shino again, but then Sophia shows up and tells Amain to let him go. Shino was right about seeing two people, and even though Amain doesn't want to take the risk, Sophia says that the main aim was to talk to Shino anyway. Sophia seems to like the word elegant, just like Zeno from Dr. Stone, and she tells Amain there is no risk as a couple of school kids can't beat a trained killer. Amain listens to her mistress, But one look is all our hero needs to identify Sophia. We are now told about a CEO named Hates, who rules from the shadows. Whether it's search engines, applications, or other kinds of devices, Hill controls the largest company in the tech space, and it's called Microsoft, which may be a lazy name, but at least it keeps you safe from legal issues. The point is that Sophia is his daughter, so she is from an extremely rich family. She greets Shino gracefully and introduces a main as her attendant, which is just another word for bodyguard. Sophia seems to already know about Shino because she has heard the rumors from the Sumeragi camp. Of course, Shino is aware that Hates is much bigger than the Sumeragi family, so he wonders what his daughter is doing here. Sophia's and Amane's outfits aren't dirty either, so something is up. Anyway, Shino calls out Eri and learns that she had freaked out earlier over a pebble. After assessing Amane's movements, our hero figures that she has had top-level military training. This explains why she and Sophia are getting by in the forest without being bothered by Baya or Raito. These two should be scouted at any cost, but Sophia is impressed that Shino is getting by despite having 9 people to take care of. Amane agrees and already assumes that they too will be joining Shino. This is all for Sophia's safety, as we learn that these two were already found by Baya earlier. Amane couldn't figure out his intentions, so they left the camp, as she felt the villains may try to take Sophia's life. There was a talk, but the brothers eventually agreed. Shino figures that Raito wouldn't have been a problem, but even Baya would have wanted them out if he couldn't control them. Now, Sophia asks Shino left the cave because it's a risky move. He says it's because of the flooding and also to avoid conflict, as he wants to keep his loved ones safe. Sophia thinks this is very elegant, just like Henry Henderson from Spy X Family. She then asks to join Bro's party, and he agrees. After seeing the cliff, Sophia understands why they couldn't spot Shino from the hill. Our hero has high hopes for these two, and then they meet up with the others. The girls are surprised to see Sophia, because she is like a celebrity to them. They're even more surprised to learn that she actually attended their school. Nico seems to have a problem with this, especially when the girls ask Sophia what made her come here. She holds on to Shino's arm and says she was charmed by his elegance. This shocks Shino's harem babes, especially Nico, who calls her useless, as they couldn't even find her while scouting for people. The others tell her not to be rude to their new guests, but she is still against it, and calls our hero a dork before storming off. Sophia asks if Nico doesn't like her, and the other girls tell Shino to go after her. Now we see Nico chilling by the sea, and Shino shows up apologizing to her. She says he doesn't seem sincere, although there's no reason for him to be sorry. She even accuses Bro of bringing Sophia along because of his own intrusive thoughts. He says that Amane is a battle expert and Sophia is smart, which is why he brought them along. Nico does admit that these two girls won't cause any trouble, so Shino asks why she is so upset. She explains that her chest has started to hurt, and she feels kind of muddy too. This could be love, but Shino asks if she is ill. Nico doesn't know, but she trips as she gets up, and falls right into Shino's arms. He turns on Chad mode and tells Nico that he cherishes all the girls, so she should not worry about the increasing numbers. This makes her blush, and she hugs Shino warmly. She quickly realizes what she is doing, so she pushes Shino away and calls him a creep, because women can never take accountability. At least, she admits that it's her fault for being mean to Sophia, and then they come back to the base. It's time to meet the other new recruits, with the first one being a muscle bro called Takahashi. He left the Sumeragi squad because he felt they lacked protein. Nico found him, and he prefers to be called Muscles. The next recruit is a boy named Mizuno, who is good at swimming. He's a famous figure from school as he has represented Japan. But the next recruit is another nerd named Yoshi. He is decent with radio skills, but that won't be of much help right now. As of now, the scouting is a success, so everyone wants to celebrate with a grand party. Muscles enjoys the dried meat protein, and the others also enjoy the reserve food. Sophia is amazed that the hideout is like a resort, and Mizuno wishes to ask Shino about an island he can see in the distance. Shino says he wants to make a raft so that he can check it out as there could be food and information there. Mizuno tells Shino about the difficulties of Ironman triathlons and explains that he is an expert at it. He proposes to be given some spare food because he will be able to make it to the island and back. As Mizuno farms Aura, he explains that sending a whole boat could be risky, so it would be better if only he went first. Mizuno is given food, but he asks if it's fine to also be given a water bottle. Shino is more concerned about him getting rest, but Mizuno wants to take on the challenge to make his body better. He has been inspired by the way our hero has taken care of so many people, and he wants to do his bit as well. He should take around 2 weeks to get back, and Shino prays for his safety. Mizuno hugs our hero and takes off on his mission, after which the others get to work. The newbies are having a hard time with making a fire, so they are told to get serious. Muscles can flex more than his biceps, as he is a pro at making fires. Amain shows off some of her assassin skills, but these aren't going to be of much use for cooking and surviving. Muscles is the only one who's useful, and Mizuno is off on his mission. Shino wonders what to do with the others, so the nerds say they will take care of Yoshi. Our hero feels he can give everyone a role, but he needs to plan his next moves. The enemy group has sick people, so this is the perfect time for Shino to make his preparations before going into hiding when Baya starts a rebellion. However, Sophia says that Raito will be the one to lose his cool first. She assures Shino that things will get messy there, so he doesn't need to worry. Our hero feels her sense of persuasion and foresight will come in handy for him. As Amain amazes the others with her ability to chop with her bare hands, Shino asks her to show him around the hill area. He wants to check the route to the hideout properly, but Amain declines as she has been hired to protect Sophia. The rich daughter tells Amain to do as Shino says, because she is anyway going to be working inside the cave. With that, she goes to Asa and Hina, so Amain decides to go with Shino. Now, our hero learns about the various territories with hippos, zebras, lions, and cheetahs. He did not expect so many animals, and Amain says she can hunt bugs too if he tells her which ones are edible. Shino has a better sense of the route now, but Amain wants to visit some place now. It happens to be another cave, and Amain seems to have some kind of light that illuminates it. All of this is fine, but then Amain drops down to the bare essentials, which shocks Shino. Basically, she wants to train with him because she wants him to hone his fighting skills in order to protect Sophia. She wants to move around a bit as well, and even tells Shino that he can pin her down and have his way with her if he wants. The riz is unreal from our hero, but as he wonders what he can do to Amain, she grabs his arm and smacks him to the ground. This goes on for a while, and it's quite obvious that a school student is no match for a military expert. Amain expected more, but at least she got some exercise out of it. Bro can't keep taking the emotional damage, so he asks for one more match. Amain feels this is pointless, but Shino says that despite his lack of martial arts, he is a survivalist. With that, he takes out the bulb and plunges the cave into darkness. Amain commends him for taking away her sight, but she's used to the dark, and she can map out Shino's movements. She says that she is still in the lead, but then she gets blinded by the light that Shino suddenly switches on. He makes use of this advantage to grab Amain and pin her down. He knew charging at her blindly wouldn't work, but blinding her definitely would. Amain is amazed that he used the same technique she did on him when they first met. She even compliments our hero on being such a quick learner, but Shino knows that she can still move. Amain says it's because he's not holding her down with much force. With that, she presents her curvy body to him in rather alluring fashion. Bro asks if she's sure about this because consent always matters. Amain says yes, so it's time for us to say once again that it should have been me, not him. Shino likes how wrong this whole thing feels, so he is definitely heading into Diddy territory. He also feels this has to do with Amain being caught off guard, because if they continued fighting in the darkness, it would have been different. In this moment of doubt, Amain smiles at Shino, and then flips him around. She tells him that he let his guard down while contemplating morals, so she has emerged victorious. Although with thighs like those, we'd say that bro is the real winner. He asks if Amain lost to him on purpose, but she admits that he did take her by surprise. This was why she flirted with him in order to regain the advantage. She likes strong men, so she wants Shino to become even better than he is now. Our hero wants to learn more from Amain's experience, and she agrees to do so, as it would be of use to Sophia as well. Shino feels that Amain is too centered around Sophia, so he feels that she is toying with him just for her mistress. However, the twin peaks on Amain's pillows say a different story. It's the first time she's felt this way, so she will be looking forward to their training sessions from now on. Shino may be overthinking this, but these sessions could turn out to be very addictive. Now, we move forward to Shino looking at the sea. Eri shows up and asks if he's worried about Mizuno, to which he says yes. Eri reassures him that Mizuno will be fine because he is Giga Chad material. This leads to a tense situation and the two of them are about to get down to business. But then they get interrupted by Nico, who does not want to see such things when she is fishing. She seems to have brought in a good haul, and Shino is amazed that she can catch this many with just a single rod. Nico has caught a huge octopus as well, which is a bit gross, considering it's still alive. Nico is quite proud of herself for having caught it, but the octopus seems to have some other plans. It wraps itself around her, just as men of culture would imagine it to, so she has found herself in a sticky spot. How is Nico going to get out of this mess? Is Shino going to lend her a hand? And will he ever properly get with any of the babes who want him on this island? There's so much more to see, but sadly we have come to the end of the story for today. Like, share, and subscribe if you liked Shino's story as well as his babes, Yuki, Eri, Nico, Asa, Hina, and Nimi. Amain and Sophia are also joining in on the fun, so we hope you're entertained. Guys, please feel free to drop your suggestions in the comments below. As always, you know that if this video gets enough love, I'll add some more chapters too. Okay then, I'll see you in the next one.